Hello, welcome back to the Land Rover Toolbox videos. Today we're going to have a little look at wash tanks. Generally what we use a wash tank for in a workshop is to clean components of grease, degrease them and get them clean ready for inspection. Components like this CV joint which has been pulled to bits, or sensitive engine components which really need to be cleaned very thoroughly. Wheel bearings also need the grease stripped out of them completely before inspection and checking. This is one of my favourite degreasants. It's air powered and it's mobile, so it can be moved around the workshop to clean off stub axles that have had blown seals or even on a gearbox. And this one's a static one with a deep tank. This will be for any components. We have a couple at the LRTV for preparing parts, for not only for video but for repairs as well. A standing one and a small one. This one here is a tank which has got a large capacity with it, and the smaller one here, which is a bench standing one, is about 15 litres maximum, which is handy for small jobs. It is electric powered, and this nozzle here, you switch it on, pumps the fluid through like so. This is already used, as you can see the colour. Professional workshops are usually hire their degreasing equipment. And if you notice on here, there's also a pipe to a stiff brush like this, which pumps the fluid through. Unfortunately, we don't have that type of brush at the moment, so we've used a stiff brush as improvising instead. One thing you never use in a wash tank is petrol, since it's very volatile. We're using paraffin here, but also kerosene is useful. Diesel is not, because it sticks, it doesn't dissolve grease. When you get into owning a larger wash tank, you have to be very economical with what you're buying. Paraffin's expensive, and I'm using kerosene here, which is cheaper. It works out about 75 pence a litre. This will dissolve the grease, and this is the whole idea of a wash tank, it's a degreasant. The smaller 15 litre wash tank will not take large components like cylinder heads or crankshafts, whereas the larger 20 gallon one will, and this is the best to have in a workshop. However, the smaller one will take small components. It very much depends on what you're doing in your workshop. If you're doing wheel bearings, you need to remove as much of the grease as possible before you go ahead and wash. Basically, this is what happens when you do a few sets of wheel bearings and a few other components with a small tank. A lot of sludge. The larger the tank, the longer the fluid's going to last, as it dilutes the dirt that's in there, and I think this will get changed probably after a year or so. This one here we've acquired from SIP Industrial Products, and they seem to be the best on the market at the moment. The major cost of having a workshop wash tank that is of this size is the cost of the fluid, since this bit of equipment is actually quite cheap. As you expand your workshop, you're going to need a higher degree of cleanliness as you take on more jobs, especially when it comes down to doing engines, cylinder heads, cranks and such like. You need to get all the dirt off and all the oil before you can start, for instance, inspecting and cleaning and stripping down. This way you're not going to get in a mess, get grit stuck on the grease. Both sizes of wash tank can be found from SIP Industrial Products. Okay, well we'll just get this all cleaned up and degreased, and then I can start removing the carbon off it.